Hello, everyone. Tonight we are journeying back in time to the fascinating world of Magdalenian culture, specifically focusing on their incredible art and tool advancements during the tail end of the Ice Age. You probably won't survive this journey if you were actually there, as the challenges of survival were immense and unforgiving, demanding constant ingenuity and resilience from our ancient ancestors. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really enjoy what I do here. Let me know where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you right now in the comments below. Now turn off the lights, maybe turn on the fan for some soothing noise, and let's embark on tonight's journey together. You feel a subtle yet profound shift in the air. The bone-numbing cold, while still present, no longer feels quite so relentless. The glaciers, those colossal architects of the landscape, are beginning their slow, inexorable retreat. You are now stepping into the Magdalenian period. Roughly 17,000 to 12,000 years ago, a time characterized by a warming world in an Ice Age Europe. This wasn't a sudden spring, but a gradual thaw, a change in climate that profoundly reshaped environments, animal populations, and crucially human culture. Imagine the relief, the sense of hope, as the grip of the deepest ice ages finally began to loosen. It's like the moment you realize winter is actually truly finally over. This subtle warming brought about significant ecological changes. Forests slowly began to creep back into areas once dominated by treeless steppe tundra. This shift in vegetation in turn affected the distribution and abundance of the megafauna that had been the cornerstone of earlier Paleolithic existence. The woolly mammoths and rhinos, those giants of the ice, found their preferred habitats shrinking, while new opportunities arose for other species. This environmental transformation created both challenges and incredible opportunities for the Magdalenian people. One legitimate historical event that marks this transition is the Ikonon onset of the Bulling Alarud interstadial, a significant warming period that began around 1400 to 700 years ago. This wasn't a one-way street to warmth. There were still abrupt cold snaps, but the overall trend was towards amelioration. This allowed for greater mobility and perhaps larger human populations in certain areas. Historians still debate whether this warming directly caused the cultural explosion of the Magdalenian or if it simply provided the environmental stability needed for existing cultural innovations to truly flourish. Maybe it was a bit of both, like having a comfortable workshop for your genius ideas to finally blossom. A quirky or off-color fact to ponder: imagine the Magdalenian equivalent of a climate scientist. They'd be the person constantly sniffing the air and prodding the snow, trying to figure out if it was going to be a long fur coat winter or a slightly less long fur coat winter. And their predictions had real immediate consequences. Grog says the big thaw is coming, time to move the camp higher up. It certainly makes you appreciate your modern weather app, even if it's sometimes wrong. This warming trend, despite its fluctuations, fundamentally influenced Magdalenian technology and art. As new resources became available and old ones shifted, their tools adapted with remarkable ingenuity. Their art, often seen as the pinnacle of Paleolithic expression, might have been a response to this changing world, a way of understanding and interacting with a natural environment that was both familiar and subtly, yet profoundly transforming. You can almost feel the gentle shift in the breeze, the distant sigh of retreating ice, heralding a new era of human creativity and adaptation. The world quite literally was opening up to them. As the climate begins its slow, uneven dance towards warmer times, your senses are dominated by the rhythmic thundering of hooves. You are immersed in the world of the shiksh. Reindeer hunters flourish, witnessing the Magdalenian people's profound reliance on this single adaptable species and the highly specialized hunting strategies they developed around it. For them, the reindeer wasn't just another animal. It was the lifeblood of their existence, providing meat, hide, bone, and antler for every conceivable need. Imagine a world where your grocery store is a giant herd of migrating animals. It's exhilarating and terrifying all at once. Reindeer were perfectly suited to the changing environments of the late Ice Age. They thrived in the mosaic landscapes of forest and tundra, migrating in vast herds that represented an immense renewable resource. The Magdalenian people became expert trackers, intercepting these migrations at key choke points, utilizing their deep knowledge of animal behavior. This wasn't haphazard hunting. It was a sophisticated planned operation, often involving large groups cooperating to maximize their yield. They didn't just chase, they strategized. One legitimate historical event that highlights this specialization is the archaeological evidence from sites like Solutré in France, which, while slightly predating the core Magdalenian, shows immense accumulations of horse bones indicating repeated mass kills at a single location over millennia. This type of strategic large-scale hunting, perfected by the Magdalenians with reindeer, points to an incredible understanding of animal behavior and landscape. Historians still debate whether mass kills were primarily driven by population pressure or simply by optimal resource acquisition strategies during periods of peak animal abundance. Maybe they just really like barbecue. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine having to explain the concept of ethical sourcing to a Magdalenian hunter. They'd probably just stare at you, then point to the fresh reindeer carcass and say, "This is as ethical as it gets, buddy. It just ran really fast." Their lives were so directly intertwined with the cycles of nature that sustainability wasn't a philosophical concept. It was a practical necessity for survival. Waste not, want not took on a whole new meaning. The intense focus on reindeer also influenced their tools and art. Many of their specialized bone and antler tools were designed specifically for processing reindeer carcasses. And in their art, the reindeer often appears with incredible detail and dynamic movement, hinting at their deep connection and reverence for this vital animal. The success of their hunting strategies allowed for larger, more stable populations, which in turn provided the societal stability necessary for the flourishing of their extraordinary artistic culture. You can almost hear the rhythmic thud of thousands of hooves on the ancient earth, the collective breath of the hunters as they prepared for the dance of life and death, intimately connected to the powerful spirit of the reindeer. From the thundering hooves of reindeer, your focus shifts to the subtle yet profound sounds of stone on stone. You are now witnessing the war blade technology revolution. The incredible advancements in flint knapping that defined Magdalenian toolmaking, particularly the proliferation of long standardized blade tools. This wasn't just chipping away at rocks. This was precision engineering, a testament to their sophisticated understanding of material properties in manufacturing processes. Imagine a craftsman today meticulously shaping metal with incredible precision, but using only another harder piece of metal. It's mind-bogglingly impressive, isn't it? Unlike earlier, more generalized flake tools, Magdalenian blade technology focused on producing long parallel-sided flakes from carefully prepared cores. These blades could then be further modified into a wide array of specialized tools: scrapers, burins, points, and knives. This efficiency meant more cutting edge from less raw material, a crucial advantage in a world where good flint wasn't always locally available. It's like getting way more bang for your buck, or in this case, way more cutting for your rock. One legitimate historical event that highlights this technological leap is the widespread appearance of blade cores and standardized blades across numerous Magdalenian sites throughout Europe. This indicates not just individual skill, but a shared sophisticated knowledge base that was transmitted across generations and perhaps between different groups. The sheer consistency of these forms over vast geographical areas speaks to a highly successful and efficient production method. Historians still debate whether this focus on blades was driven by the specific needs of reindeer hunting, e.g. for butchering efficiency, or if it was part of a broader cultural trend towards greater standardization and specialization in all aspects of life. Perhaps they just like the aesthetic of a really sleek blade. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine if a Magdalenian flint knapper accidentally cut themselves with one of their newly made razor-sharp blades. Oops, well, at least I know it's sharp enough for that bison or my finger. It reminds you that precision tool making was a dangerous business, requiring not just skill, but also a healthy respect for the materials, and probably a few band-aids made of moss and tree sap. The mastery of blade technology allowed for incredible versatility. A single blade could be transformed into multiple tools, prolonging its usefulness and maximizing the utility of valuable raw materials. This technological sophistication is a clear marker of Magdalenian ingenuity, reflecting not just practical necessity, but a deeper understanding of material properties and a drive for efficiency. You can almost hear the crisp, sharp clink as a perfect blade detaches from its core, a sound that echoes across millennia, a testament to the quiet genius of these ancient artisans. It's a testament to how intelligence isn't just about big brains, but about clever hands. From the elegance of the blade, your focus narrows to a specific, unassuming, yet revolutionary tool, the swear, baron. You are now examining this seemingly simple flint tool and its critical role as the reiterate an engraving's essential tool in the flourishing Magdalenian art and boneworking. It looks like nothing more than a tiny chisel made of stone, but in the hands of a skilled Magdalenian artisan, it was the key to unlocking an explosion of artistic expression. Imagine trying to draw a detailed picture with just a rock, and then suddenly you have a precise sharp point. It's like getting a fine-tip pen after using a blunt crayon your whole life. A burn is characterized by a small sharp edge formed by the intersection of two flakes. This robust yet precise point was perfect for engraving lines into hard materials like bone antler, ivory, and even rock. Without the burn, the intricate details and fine lines that characterize much of Magdalenian portable art and some cave engravings would simply not have been possible. It allowed for a level of artistic detail and control that was unprecedented. It was their version of a multi-tool essential for both crafting and creating. One legitimate historical event that underscores the importance of the burin is its widespread discovery at Magdalenian archaeological sites, often in large quantities and showing extensive signs of use. This ubiquity indicates its central role in their daily lives and artistic endeavors. The very definition of Magdalenian culture often includes the prominence of burin technology. Historians still debate whether the invention of the burin drove the surge in engraved art, or if the desire for more detailed art led to the specialized development of the burin. Perhaps it was a chicken and egg situation, only with more bone and less breakfast. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine how many burins a Magdalenian artist might have gone through just to engrave one highly detailed piece of antler. They'd probably have a pile of worn-out burin nubs like modern artists with their depleted sketch pencils. Oh no, I just broke my favorite burin, guess I'll have to nap a new one before I can finish this reindeer's antlers. It makes you appreciate the patience and dedication involved in their craft. The burin allowed Magdalenian artisans to transform raw materials into canvases for storytelling symbolism and detailed observation. They could engrave lifelike animals onto spear throwers, etch complex patterns onto bone plaques, and add intricate details to cave wall figures. This wasn't just about practicality. It was about expressing a rich inner world, about capturing the essence of their environment and beliefs in durable form. You can almost hear the delicate scratch of the burin on bone, the sound of ancient artistry unfolding, leaving an indelible mark that speaks across tens of thousands of years. It's a quiet symphony of precision and purpose. From the meticulous etchings of the burin, your gaze now turns towards the shimmering surface of water. You are now learning about Harpoon's aquatic innovations. The development of sophisticated barbed bone and antler harpoons that revolutionized fishing and aquatic hunting for the Magdalenian people. This wasn't just a minor upgrade, it was a fundamental shift in resource exploitation, allowing them to tap into a new and abundant food source. Imagine trading your trusty spear for a tool that lets you reliably catch fish even in fast-moving rivers. It's a game changer, literally and figuratively. These harpoons were ingenious. Crafted from durable bone or antler, they featured single or double rows of barbs that would stick securely in the flesh of a fish or seal, preventing escape. Often, they also had a hole at the base for attaching a line, ensuring the retrieve of the catch. This specialized tool reflects a deep understanding of aquatic environments and animal behavior, signaling a broader and more diversified subsistence strategy than earlier Paleolithic groups. It's like they realized the ocean was a giant pantry, not just a place to get thirsty. One legitimate historical event that clearly demonstrates this advancement is the widespread appearance of these distinctive barbed harpoons in Magdalenian archaeological sites, particularly those near rivers or coastlines. Their ubiquity indicates a shift towards a more consistent exploitation of aquatic resources, especially as the climate warmed and riverine and coastal environments became more productive. Historians still debate whether the development of the harpoon was a direct response to increasing population density and the need for more diverse food sources, or if it was simply a natural evolution of existing bone and antler working technologies. Perhaps they just got bored of hunting mammoths and wanted some sushi. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine trying to invent a harpoon without ever having seen a modern fishing hook. They were basically prototyping complex fishing gear from scratch, using only stone tools and their ingenuity. You'd probably break a lot of antlers before you got it right. Darn it, Grug, this one keeps falling out. We need more barbs. It makes you appreciate the sheer trial and error that went into perfecting these seemingly simple tools. The harpoon allowed Magdalenian groups to settle in areas with rich aquatic resources, providing a stable and reliable food supply that complemented their terrestrial hunting. This diversification of their diet contributed to the overall resilience and prosperity of their culture. It also reflects a technological sophistication that goes beyond mere survival. It's about optimizing resources, innovating for efficiency, and adapting to every facet of their changing world. You can almost feel the sharp, precise weight of a barbed harpoon in your hand, poised over a shimmering river, anticipating the sudden thrust that brings sustenance from the depths. It's a testament to their cleverness and adaptability. From the precision of the harpoon, your attention now shifts to a tool that revolutionized the power and range of projectile weapons: the first spear thrower, also known as an atlatl. You are now encountering this ingenious device and understanding its profound impact on Magdalenian hunting efficiency and the distances their projectiles could travel. This wasn't just a fancy stick, it was a force multiplier, an ancient piece of engineering that dramatically increased the speed and force of a thrown spear. Imagine trying to throw a baseball without winding up, then suddenly being able to hurl it across a field with incredible velocity. It's a total game changer, putting more food on the table, literally. The atlatl is a simple lever. It's a short shaft, often made of antler or wood, with a hook at one end that engages the butt of a spear or dart. The hunter holds the atlatl, places the spear, and then, with a flick of the wrist, extends the throwing arm, effectively lengthening it. This added leverage dramatically increases the velocity and power of the throw, making it possible to kill large game from a safer distance and with greater impact. It's like adding an extra joint to your arm, but a really strong, fast one. One legitimate historical event that highlights the importance of the atlatl is the discovery of highly decorated spear throwers, often carved with realistic animal figures from Magdalenian sites like the famous bison-licking insect bite from La Madeleine in France. The artistic investment in these functional tools suggests their immense cultural and practical value. Historians still debate whether the atlatl primarily offered increased range, greater penetration power, or improved accuracy. Perhaps it was a combination of all three, making them super hunters. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine the bragging rights in a Magdalenian hunting camp for the guy who could throw his spear the farthest or hit the smallest target with his atlatl. There would definitely be some friendly competition. My atlatl can hit a rabbit's ear from 50 paces. Oh yeah, mine can hit a rabbit's other ear. It adds a bit of ancient sporting rivalry to the serious business of hunting. The introduction and widespread adoption of the atlatl undoubtedly led to a significant increase in hunting success, reducing risk for the hunters and providing more consistent access to meat and other resources. This improved efficiency contributed to the overall stability and prosperity of Magdalenian communities, allowing them more time for other pursuits, including the creation of their remarkable art. You can almost feel the satisfying thwack as a spear launched with incredible force finds its mark, a testament to the ingenuity that harnessed simple physics to master a challenging world. It's a silent shout of triumph echoing across the frozen plains. From the powerful thrust of the spear thrower, your attention shifts to an object of delicate yet immense utility: the needle. You are now exploring the invention and widespread use of urikiti, bone needles. Understanding their profound significance for creating tailored clothing and more complex textiles in Magdalenian culture. This wasn't just about fashion, it was about survival, comfort, and the ability to adapt to extreme cold with unprecedented efficiency. Imagine facing an Ice Age winter in loose draped hides versus tightly sewn fitted garments. It's the difference between shivering miserably and staying comfortably warm. Prior to the Magdalenian, clothing was likely simpler draped or loosely tied hides. The invention of the fine bone needle with its tiny eye allowed for the precise stitching of animal skins, creating garments that could be fitted to the body, layered effectively and sealed against the biting wind. This was a technological leap as significant as any weapon directly impacting thermoregulation and enabling humans to thrive in colder environments. It's like going from a blanket to a high-performance winter coat, all thanks to a tiny piece of bone. One legitimate historical event that highlights this innovation is the discovery of numerous finely crafted bone needles, often complete with clear eyelets at Magdalenian sites across Europe. These small, fragile tools speak volumes about the meticulousness of their craft and their advanced understanding of materials. Historians still debate whether the earliest tailored clothing was primarily for warmth or if it also served as a form of social signaling with different styles or adornments indicating status or group identity. Perhaps it was a combination like wearing your best ski suit to a formal event. A quirky or off-color fact, imagine trying to thread one of those tiny bone needles using only dim light from a fat lamp after a long day of hunting. You'd probably need incredibly steady hands and a lot of patience. Grog, can you see this eye? My old eyes just aren't what they used to be after all that mammoth tracking. It makes you appreciate the hours of meticulous work that went into every piece of clothing, every stitched hide. The ability to create tailored clothing meant better protection from the cold, allowing for greater mobility and endurance in harsh conditions. It also points to a more complex division of labor within the society, with individuals specializing in tasks like hide preparation, cutting, and sewing. This fundamental innovation in clothing technology contributed directly to the success and expansion of Magdalenian populations, allowing them to truly conquer the cold. You can almost feel the comforting warmth of a finely sewn garment, the intricate stitches holding against the fierce wind, a silent testament to the ingenuity that transformed a simple bone into a tool for ultimate survival and comfort. From the practical marvel of the needle, your senses are now overwhelmed by a breathtaking display of artistic genius. You are standing before the pinnacle of Paleolithic cave art, witnessing the refined naturalism and vibrant compositions of sites like Lascaux in Altamira during the Magdalenian period. This isn't just art, it's a profound statement, a visual symphony of life movement and spiritual connection that reaches across tens of thousands of years to stir something deep within you. Imagine walking into a gallery only the art is painted on vast, uneven rock walls, and the artists are long-vanished Ice Age hunters. It's an unparalleled experience. The Magdalenian era is widely considered the zenith of Ice Age cave painting. The artists achieved an astonishing level of realism, depicting animals with incredible anatomical accuracy, dynamic poses, and a masterful use of perspective and shading. The famous Hall of Bulls at Lascaux or the polychrome ceiling at Altamira, with its vibrant bison, are testament to a sophisticated artistic tradition that rivals and in some ways surpasses later periods. These aren't just figures. They are beings imbued with life, captured in moments of power and grace. One legitimate historical event that cemented this recognition was the discovery and subsequent detailed documentation of the Altamira cave in Spain in the late 19th century, particularly its polychrome bison. Its artistic quality was so high that it was initially dismissed as a hoax by some academics who couldn't believe primitive people were capable of such artistry. This skepticism eventually gave way to awe, fundamentally reshaping our understanding of early human cognitive and artistic capabilities. Historians still debate the precise purpose of this art, whether it was for hunting magic, shamanic ritual storytelling, or simply aesthetic expression. Perhaps it was all of these depending on the day and who was looking. A quirky or off-color fact, imagine how proud the Magdalenian artists must have been of their masterpieces. They probably had their own version of an art critique circle. Grog, that bison's horn is slightly off. You gotta fix it before the next big ceremony. It makes you wonder if they signed their work or if their signature was in their unique flaking patterns or brushstrokes. The sheer scale and beauty of these paintings suggest a profound cultural investment in their creation. Often located deep within the caves, requiring complex lighting and scaffolding, their creation was a communal effort likely imbued with spiritual significance. The flickering light from fat lamps, more on those later, would have made the animals appear to move, blurring the lines between art and reality, transforming static images into animated visions. You can almost feel the vibrant energy radiating from the walls, the powerful presence of the animals, a silent chorus of life that speaks to the profound artistic and spiritual genius of the Magdalenian people. It is a masterpiece forged in the crucible of ice and ingenuity. From the monumental grandeur of the cave walls, your gaze now shifts to a more intimate yet equally captivating form of artistic expression. You are now discovering the portable art's profusion. The sheer abundance and intricacy of Magdalenian art, carved on smaller movable objects made from bone antler, ivory, and stone. Unlike the vast immobile cave paintings, these pieces could be carried, exchanged, and held close, making them deeply personal and versatile expressions of their culture. Imagine having an entire art gallery that fits in your pocket. Pretty neat, right? This era saw an explosion of decorated objects. You find not just tools and weapons, but exquisitely carved spear throwers, bâtons de commandement, mysterious perforated rods, decorated harpoons, and countless small plaques and figurines. The level of detail and artistic skill on these tiny canvases is astounding. Animals are often rendered with dynamic energy, showing incredible anatomical observation and a keen eye for detail, sometimes even depicting seasonal changes in fur. It's like finding a miniature masterpiece crafted with painstaking care. One legitimate historical event that showcases this artistic outpouring is the Nishkina discovery of the swimming reindeer from Montaustruc, France. This intricately carved piece of mammoth ivory depicting two reindeer, one slightly smaller than the other, as if swimming in water, is a masterpiece of Magdalenian portable art. Its fluid lines and sense of movement perfectly illustrate this sophistication of their carving techniques and their observational skills. Historians still debate the primary purpose of much of this portable art. Was it purely aesthetic, a form of personal adornment, a mnemonic device for storytelling? Or did it hold deep ritualistic significance as amulets or teaching tools? Maybe they just enjoyed having pretty things, just like us. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine if a Magdalenian hunter accidentally dropped their intricately carved spear thrower into a river. The sheer heartbreak hours of painstaking artistic work gone in an instant. They probably had a sophisticated system for keeping track of their prized possessions, or at least a very good memory of where they left them. Did anyone see my lucky bison engraved atlatl? The profusion of portable art suggests a vibrant cultural life beyond the necessities of survival. It points to individuals with specialized skills, perhaps even dedicated artists, who invested significant time and effort into creating objects that held both practical and symbolic value. These pieces could have been used in daily life, carried on journeys, or given as gifts, serving as tangible links to their beliefs, their social bonds, and their intimate connection to the animal world. You can almost feel the smooth, cool surface of a tiny carved horse, its form perfectly fitted to your palm, a silent testament to the ancient hands that shaped it and the rich inner world it represented. From the intricate forms of portable art, your focus now shifts to the deeper meanings embedded within them. You are now examining engraved bone storytellers. Delving into specific examples of Magdalenian engraved bones and antlers, interpreting their potential as narrative devices, symbolic records, or even early forms of information storage. These aren't just decorated artifacts. They are silent witnesses to ancient narratives, frozen moments of observation, or perhaps even maps to forgotten knowledge. Imagine holding a piece of bone that for its original owner might have told a whole story without a single word. Many Magdalenian bone and antler fragments feature complex engravings beyond simple animal figures. These include abstract patterns, sequences of dots or lines, and what appear to be composite scenes involving multiple animals or even rudimentary human figures interacting. While their exact meaning remains elusive, the deliberate organization of these motifs suggests an intention to convey information, perhaps about hunting strategies, seasonal cycles, shamanic journeys, or communal events. And it's like a prehistoric storyboard waiting to be deciphered. One legitimate historical event that highlights the narrative potential of these engravings is the discovery of the swimming deer plaque, sometimes called Le Combarel, or La Vache qui Parle, the talking cow, though not really a cow, just me having a giggle from France, which depicts a series of reindeer seemingly in motion or sequence. Such detailed sequential imagery hints at a narrative or mnemonic purpose, perhaps aiding in the retelling of a hunt or a migration. Historians still debate whether these engravings are literal records, symbolic representations, or purely artistic expressions with no inherent story beyond their visual impact. Maybe they were just trying out different drawing styles. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine trying to create a complex engraving on a curved piece of bone using only a tiny flint version. Remember those from part 4. You'd need incredibly steady hands and an immense amount of patience. One slip and you've ruined hours of work. They probably had some intense focused music playing in their heads, or maybe they just didn't get easily distracted by shiny objects. These engraved bones served as more than just art objects. They were tangible links to shared knowledge and collective memory. They might have been used during storytelling sessions around the campfire, with the elder tracing the lines as they recounted an epic hunt or a spiritual journey. They could have served as teaching aids for younger generations, illustrating animal behavior or landscape features. You can almost feel the smooth, cool surface of the engraved bone under your fingers, tracing the ancient lines, imagining the voices that once gave life to these silent stories, connecting you to a time when art and knowledge were inextricably woven into the very fabric of existence. Stepping away from the flat narratives etched on bone, your eye is drawn to objects that possess a three-dimensional life of their own. You are now encountering the figurative sculptures flourish. The small, exquisite animal and occasional human figurines crafted during the Magdalenian period. These aren't mere decorations. They are tactile expressions of their world imbued with a sense of vitality and purpose that resonates even across tens of thousands of years. Imagine holding a tiny, perfectly formed horse carved from mammoth ivory, feeling its smooth contours and intricate details. It's like a prehistoric action figure, but with way more historical significance. These sculptures, often only a few inches long, demonstrate an incredible mastery of materials like ivory antler and soft stone. The animals are frequently depicted with remarkable naturalism, capturing their essence, movement, and even subtle anatomical features. Unlike some of the earlier, more generalized Venus figurines, remember those voluptuous ladies from Part 8. Magdalenian animal sculptures often show a dynamic realism, hinting at keen observational skills and a deep reverence for the creatures that sustain them. It's as if the artists were trying to breathe life into the material itself. One legitimate historical event that highlights this artistic peak is the discovery of the swimming reindeer from Montastret, France. An exquisite double sculpture of two reindeer carved from mammoth ivory dating to the Magdalenian. Its fluid lines and sense of motion are truly remarkable, showcasing an artistic skill that rivals later classical periods. Historians still debate whether these figurines were primarily ritualistic objects, personal amulets, teaching tools for hunting, or simply cherished works of art created for their aesthetic value. Perhaps they were just really good at whittling, and reindeer were their favorite subjects. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine how long it must have taken to carve a detailed animal out of dense mammoth ivory using only flint tools. It would have required immense patience, steady hands, and an almost zen-like focus. You'd probably spend more time on one tiny horse than you would on assembling your entire IKEA furniture collection. Ugh, another splinter! This tiny mammoth is going to be the death of me. The creation of these sculptures suggests a deep artistic sensibility and a cultural value placed on craftsmanship. They were likely not mass-produced, but rather unique pieces, perhaps created by specialized artisans. More on those later. Whether carried as protective charms, used in hunting rituals, or simply admired for their beauty, these small sculptures provide a tangible link to the inner world of the Magdalenian people, revealing their profound connection to the animal kingdom and their capacity for abstract thought and artistic expression. You can almost feel the coolness of the ivory, the subtle weight of the finished form, a testament to the quiet genius that transformed raw materials into timeless masterpieces. Stepping past the vibrant animal forms, your gaze now falls upon something more abstract, yet equally compelling. You are now investigating abstract signs and symbols. The enigmatic geometric patterns and non-figurative markings that frequently accompany or even dominate Magdalenian figurative art in caves and on portable objects. These aren't accidental scribbles. They are a complex, silent language, a testament to a highly developed system of symbolic communication that still largely eludes our modern understanding. Imagine looking at a series of dots, lines, and squares, knowing they hold profound meaning but having no dictionary to decipher them. It's like a prehistoric QR code but without the handy scanner. These abstract signs appear in a dizzying array of forms: dots, lines, grids, triangles, zigzags, nested shapes, and more complex ideograms. They are found not only alongside the majestic animal paintings in caves, but also etched onto bone and antler artifacts. Their deliberate placement and repetition suggest they were not arbitrary. They were integral to the message being conveyed, whether it was a narrative, a ritual instruction, or a map of the cosmos. Historians still debate whether these symbols represent specific objects, concepts, groups, or perhaps even early forms of notation. Maybe some of them were just ancient doodles like when you're bored in a meeting. One legitimate historical event that highlights the perplexing nature of these signs is the systematic cataloging of such symbols across numerous European Paleolithic sites by researchers like Genevieve von Petzinger. Her work has revealed surprising consistency in some symbols across vast geographical and temporal distances, suggesting a shared repertoire of meaning that extends beyond local artistic quirks. This consistency is hard to explain without some form of common underlying cognitive structure or shared cultural understanding. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine trying to explain to a Magdalenian artist that people thousands of years later would be scratching their heads, arguing for decades over whether a particular squiggle was a river, a trail, or just a really bad headache. They'd probably find our confusion quite amusing. It's obvious, isn't it? It means don't go this way unless you have extra spears. But which way, we'll never know for sure. The presence and persistence of these abstract symbols underscore the advanced cognitive abilities of the Magdalenian people. They weren't just depicting what they saw, they were conceptualizing, abstracting, and creating systems of meaning. These signs might have served as mnemonic devices for complex oral traditions, as territorial markers, as indicators of group identity, or as components of shamanic maps of the spirit world. You can almost feel the weight of unspoken knowledge, the silent narratives embedded in these ancient marks, a profound testament to a world where meaning was carved not just into stone, but into the very fabric of their perception. From the enigmatic abstract signs, your attention turns to the very medium that brought these ancient visions to life. You are now learning about a pigment preparation mastery, the sophisticated techniques used by Magdalenian artisans to create and apply the vibrant colors seen in both their monumental cave art and their delicate portable art. This wasn't simply digging up some dirt, it was a complex process involving geological knowledge, chemistry, and meticulous craftsmanship, all aimed at achieving lasting, impactful visual effects. Imagine being a chemist, but your laboratory is a chilly cave, and your only tools are rocks. Impressive, right? The Magdalenian palette was primarily drawn from natural mineral pigments, reds, yellows, and oranges from ochre, iron oxides, black from a manganese dioxide or charcoal, and whites from a kaolin or calcium carbonate. What's truly remarkable is not just the sourcing of these materials, often from distant quarries, but their preparation. They ground these minerals into fine powders, sometimes using grinding stones or bone mortars. Then they mix them with binders, animal fats, blood urine, or even egg whites, to create paint that would adhere to rock surfaces and last for millennia. It's like a prehistoric art supply store, but with much more elbow grease involved. One legitimate historical event that provides direct evidence of this mastery is the Mayan discovery of paint pots, hollowed-out bones or shells containing traces of prepared pigment, and grinding stones at numerous Magdalenian sites, often alongside the raw mineral chunks. These finds provide tangible proof of their systematic approach to color production. Historians still debate the specific recipes and ratios used for different effects, or whether certain binders were preferred for specific types of surfaces or symbolic meanings. Was there a secret recipe for the perfect bison red? We can only guess. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine an ancient artist trying to explain their painting process. First you find the really red dirt, then you smash it with a rock, then you mix it with, well, let's just say a very special liquid that comes from a male human. Don't ask. It certainly makes you appreciate the dedication and perhaps the lack of squeamishness involved in their artistic endeavors. The meticulous preparation of pigments underscores the profound importance of their art. This was not a casual undertaking. It was a deliberate ritualistic act requiring significant time, effort, and specialized knowledge. The resulting vibrant colors allowed them to create lifelike and powerful images, enhancing the spiritual impact of their cave paintings and portable art. You can almost feel the gritty texture of the raw pigment, the smooth slipperiness of the binder, as they mixed the very earth into hues that would speak across time, turning rock into canvas and mineral into timeless expression. It's a testament to their unwavering commitment to vision. From the vibrant pigments themselves, your attention now shifts to the essential element that made their deep cave art visible. You are now understanding lighting the darkness. Fat lamps. The ingenious technology of Magdalenian fat lamps and their crucial role in illuminating the vast, deep galleries where some of the most breathtaking art was created. Without these simple yet effective light sources, the awe-inspiring masterpieces of Lascaux or Altamira would have remained forever hidden in impenetrable blackness. Imagine trying to paint in a cave using only firelight. It's effective, but also a smoky, flickering mess. The fat lamp was a serious upgrade. These lamps were remarkably simple, but incredibly efficient. Typically, they consisted of a piece of porous stone, often sandstone or limestone, with a hollowed-out depression to hold animal fat, likely rendered marrow fat, which burns cleanly and brightly. A wick made from plant fibers or dried moss would be placed in the fat, and when lit, it would provide a consistent, smoke-free flame. Some lamps even had handles or were shaped to fit the hand, making them truly portable lighting solutions. It's like their version of a battery-powered LED flashlight, only organic and much less prone to running out of batteries at the worst possible moment. One legitimate historical event that proves the existence and use of these lamps is the discovery of numerous fat lamps, often still bearing traces of soot or animal fat, within the deep recesses of decorated caves across Europe. In Lascaux alone, over 100 lamps have been identified. Their strategic placement within the caves, often near painted panels, provides direct evidence of their use during the artistic process. Historians still debate whether different types of fat, e.g. reindeer versus bison, provided different qualities of light, or if specific lamp designs were preferred for certain ritualistic contexts. Perhaps some lamps were just considered prettier than others. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine how smoky and dim a cave must have been before the widespread use of fat lamps. You'd probably spend half your time coughing and the other half squinting, trying to see what you were painting. Grog, is that a bison or a really lumpy rock? I can't tell in this gloom. The fat lamp was truly a game changer for cave exploration and artistic endeavors. The fat lamp allowed Magdalenian artists to work for extended periods in the deepest, darkest parts of the caves, creating intricate and highly detailed compositions. The steady, bright flame would have made the painted animals appear to move and breathe, enhancing the immersive and spiritual experience of the art. It was a technology that literally brought light to their artistic and spiritual world, allowing them to transform the profound darkness of the earth into a canvas for their deepest beliefs. You can almost smell the faint, clean scent of burning fat, feel the gentle warmth on your face as the ancient light illuminates a masterpiece bridging millennia. From the practical illumination of the fat lamps, your attention now shifts to the human element behind the extraordinary creations. You are now considering the evidence for specialized workshops and artisans. Inferring that Magdalenian society likely had individuals who dedicated significant time and skill to crafting tools and creating art, working in dedicated areas. This wasn't simply everyone chipping away at rocks or doodling on walls. This was a level of craftsmanship and artistic sophistication that suggests expertise, training, and perhaps even a form of early apprenticeship. Imagine a prehistoric art school complete with grumpy professors and demanding deadlines. Just kidding, mostly. The sheer quality and consistency of Magdalenian tools, particularly the fine blades and elaborate harpoons, remember those from Part 5 point, to highly skilled knappers who had mastered their craft. Similarly, the breathtaking artistry of the cave paintings and portable engravings suggests individuals with exceptional talent and training. It's unlikely that every hunter or gatherer possessed such refined skills. Rather, certain individuals would have excelled and perhaps been supported by the community to focus on these important tasks. It's like having a dedicated chef in your hunting group, someone who just gets to learn how to prepare mammoth stew perfectly. One legitimate historical event that hints at specialized production is the discovery of workshops within Magdalenian sites characterized by dense concentrations of specific types of debitage waste flakes from tool production or unfinished artifacts. For instance, areas might be found with a high number of burins, remember those from Part 4, and bone fragments, indicating a bone working or engraving workshop. Historians still debate whether these specialists were full-time artisans freed from hunting duties, or if they were individuals who simply had exceptional talent and dedicated more time to these pursuits alongside their subsistence activities. Maybe they were just really good at multitasking. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine the prehistoric equivalent of a signature style for a Magdalenian artist. Perhaps one napper was known for their incredibly sharp blade edges, while another artist was renowned for their perfectly rendered bison eyes. Oh, that's definitely a Grug original, you can tell by the way he draws the hooves. It certainly adds a layer of personal identity to these ancient creations, doesn't it? The existence of specialized artisans suggests a more complex social organization within Magdalenian groups. It implies a society that valued skill innovation and aesthetic expression enough to support individuals who could dedicate themselves to these crafts. This specialization would have contributed to the overall efficiency and richness of their culture, ensuring the production of high-quality tools for survival and profound art for spiritual and communal well-being. You can almost hear the rhythmic tap, tap, tap of the flint napper, the delicate scratch, scratch of the engraver, a quiet symphony of focused creation echoing through time, shaping both their world and their legacy. From the intimate settings of the workshop, your perspective now widens dramatically, spanning vast distances across the ancient European landscape. You are now exploring inter-regional exchange networks, the extensive systems of trade and interaction that allowed Magdalenian groups to acquire raw materials, including exotic shells and high-quality flint from hundreds of kilometers away. This wasn't a world of isolated, self-sufficient tribes. It was a complex web of connections, a prehistoric Silk Road, where valuable resources and implicitly ideas flowed. Imagine a world without Amazon Prime, yet still managing to get materials from hundreds of miles away. Impressive logistics, right? The very presence of materials far from their geological source is undeniable evidence of these networks. You might find Baltic amber in France or specific types of high-quality flint from southern Germany appearing in sites deep within the Iberian Peninsula. These weren't accidental finds. They were deliberately sought after, transported, and exchanged. This indicates a sophisticated understanding of resource distribution and a willingness to engage in long-distance travel or trade relationships with other groups. It's like their version of international commerce, but instead of currency, they traded in trust and valuable stone. One legitimate historical event that powerfully illustrates these networks is the discovery of marine shells from the Atlantic and Mediterranean coasts at inland Magdalenian sites, sometimes hundreds of kilometers from the coast. These shells, often perforated for use as beads or ornaments, clearly demonstrate long-distance movement of materials, either through direct travel or more likely through successive exchanges between intermediate groups. Historians still debate the precise mechanisms of this exchange. Was it direct face-to-face trading, gift-giving alliances, or a down-the-line exchange where materials passed through many hands? Perhaps it was a bit of all three, depending on who you knew and what you had. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine the cool factor of having a necklace made of shells from a distant ocean in Ice Age Europe. It would be like having a designer handbag made from materials found only on the moon. You'd definitely be the trendsetter at the next big mammoth hunt. Oh, this is just a little something I picked up from a coastal friend. You probably wouldn't know them. The establishment and maintenance of these exchange networks speak volumes about Magdalenian social organization and their capacity for intergroup relations. It required trust, negotiation, and a shared understanding of value. Beyond raw materials, these networks would also have facilitated the exchange of ideas, technologies like specialized tools or artistic techniques, and even spiritual concepts. You can almost feel the invisible threads of connection stretching across the vast silent landscape, linking distant communities in a tapestry of commerce and culture, a testament to the enduring human drive for connection and shared prosperity. From the sprawling exchange networks, your perspective now zooms in on the internal dynamics of Magdalenian communities. You are now inferring social organization and complexity. Understanding that the Magdalenian period likely saw increasing social complexity and potentially more hierarchical structures within groups moving beyond the simpler egalitarian bands of earlier times. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about thriving, accumulating knowledge, and perhaps even establishing status within a more structured society. Imagine a small village, but instead of a mayor, they have a really good mammoth hunter or a phenomenal cave artist. Several lines of archaeological evidence point towards this growing complexity. The presence of specialized artisans, remember those talented folks from Part 15 Extensive Trade Networks, just talked about those, and elaborate burials with significant grave goods all suggest a society where individuals might have had differing role statuses and access to resources. This isn't to say they were full-blown chiefdoms or kingdoms, but rather that a more nuanced social fabric was likely emerging. It's like a prehistoric version of a LinkedIn profile where your job title is Master Flint Napper or Chief Bison Painter. One legitimate historical event that provides compelling evidence is the discovery of rich burials like the Prince of Arene Candide in Italy, a slightly earlier but relevant Upper Paleolithic example. Or the highly adorned individuals at Sungir in Russia. Remember those thousands of ivory beads from Part 28 of the last narrative callback. Such burials with their elaborate grave goods and evidence of specialized roles strongly suggest inherited status or achieved high social standing within a complex group. Historians still debate whether these emerging hierarchies were based on age-gender hunting, prowess, spiritual power, the shaman's influence perhaps, or artistic skill. Maybe it was just whoever could tell the best jokes around the campfire. A quirky or off-color fact, imagine the social faux pas of showing up to a Magdalenian gathering with a really shoddy spear thrower when everyone else has beautifully carved ones. You'd probably be judged. Oh, look, Grog's still using that basic atlatl. So last season, it makes you realize that even in ancient times, status symbols and social pressures likely played a role in daily life. The increasing social complexity of the Magdalenian period would have provided a more stable framework for the transmission of knowledge, the organization of large-scale hunts, and the flourishing of art and technology. It allowed for the concentration of expertise and resources, fostering innovation and resilience. You can almost feel the intricate web of relationships, the subtle dynamics of power and influence within these ancient communities, a testament to the evolving human capacity for organization and collaboration beyond mere familial bonds. This was society slowly but surely becoming more than just a band of survivors. From the intricate social webs of Magdalenian communities, your perspective now broadens to encompass the large-scale gatherings that punctuated their seasonal lives. You are now learning about seasonal aggregations and rituals, uncovering the evidence for vast temporary campsites where Magdalenian groups came together, possibly for communal rituals, large-scale hunting drives, and perhaps even social networking on a scale rarely seen before. This wasn't just a casual get-together, it was a major event, a time of feasting ceremony, and the vital exchange of information and genes. Imagine a prehistoric Burning Man, but with more mammoth meat and fewer glow sticks. The Magdalenian period saw larger and more stable populations than previous Ice Age cultures, partly due to their mastery of reindeer hunting and diversified food sources. This allowed for the possibility of these larger seasonal gatherings, often at strategic locations like river crossings or seasonal hunting grounds where game was abundant. Archaeological evidence for such sites includes massive accumulations of animal bones, especially reindeer, a high density of tools, and sometimes even evidence of temporary structures. It's like finding a giant ancient party site complete with all the discarded dinner plates. One legitimate historical event that strongly supports the existence of these aggregations is the discovery of large multi-component Magdalenian sites like those in the Vézère Valley of France, which show repeated occupation by large groups over long periods. These sites often exhibit specialized activity areas, suggesting coordinated efforts for large-scale processing of resources. Historians still debate the primary driver for these gatherings. Was it purely economic maximizing, hunting yields social finding mates, forming alliances, or ritualistic communal ceremonies? Perhaps it was a grand mix of all these factors, like a really productive, fun, and spiritually uplifting convention. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine the sheer noise and chaos of hundreds of Magdalenian people and their dogs. Yes, they had dogs by this point, likely domesticated wolves gathered in one place. It would be quite a sensory overload compared to their usual small group existence. Grog, did you see who brought the good flint? And oh my God, that guy's mammoth stew smells amazing. It makes you wonder about the gossip and social dramas of these ancient mega camps. These seasonal aggregations would have played a crucial role in reinforcing cultural identity, transmitting knowledge, facilitating trade. Remember those exchange networks and ensuring genetic diversity. Communal rituals, perhaps led by shamans, would have strengthened social bonds and reaffirmed their connection to the spiritual world, especially in preparation for or celebration of successful hunts. You can almost feel the vibrant energy of these gatherings, the murmur of many voices, the shared laughter and communal purpose, a powerful testament to the enduring human need for community and collective celebration, even in the heart of the Ice Age. From the vibrant buzz of seasonal gatherings, your attention now focuses inward towards the individuals who may have orchestrated much of the spiritual and social life within these complex Magdalenian communities. You are now revisiting the Magdalenian shaman's role, integrating artistic and technological advancements into your understanding of these central figures. The shaman was not merely a spiritual guide. They were likely innovators, artists, healers, and storytellers, embodying the very essence of Magdalenian ingenuity and their deep connection to the unseen world. Imagine a spiritual leader who could also make the most advanced tools and create breathtaking art. Talk about a multi-talented resume. As Magdalenian society grew in complexity, so too would have the demands on its spiritual leaders. The shaman's ability to navigate the spirit world, to interpret dreams, remember those dreamtime narratives from the previous script, and to intercede with powerful animal spirits would have been crucial for successful reindeer hunts and overall community well-being. Their role likely became even more formalized, perhaps involving specialized training and unique regalia, reflecting their elevated status within the group. It's like having a spiritual CEO, but one who can actually talk to bison. One legitimate historical event that suggests the shaman's evolving importance is the consistent appearance of specific ritualistic objects or unique burials that imply a specialized role, sometimes associated with tools of fine craftsmanship or rare materials. While direct evidence of shamans is still interpretive, the recurring patterns of composite beings in art, like the sorcerer figures from earlier Paleolithic periods, still relevant for understanding the concept of transformation, or burials with unusual grave goods, like the antler headdress from the Starkar site, though slightly later, but a good comparative example for specialized spiritual attire hint at such figures. Historians still debate whether all shamans were artists, or if artists were inherently seen as spiritual figures because of their ability to bring the invisible world to life through imagery. Perhaps it was a reciprocal relationship, where art enhanced the ritual and ritual inspired the art. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine a Magdalenian shaman trying to explain their visions of spirit animals to the rest of the tribe. So the great stag spirit told me we need to go past the big rock, but only after the third moon. And he also said I really need to get my antlers polished. It must have been a challenging job translating the ethereal into practical guidance and ensuring everyone believed you. The shaman would have been at the forefront of integrating Magdalenian technological advancements into their spiritual practices. Perhaps newly refined bone needles, remember those from Part 7, were used to create more intricate ritual costumes. The spear throwers' increased hunting success might have led to more elaborate Thanksgiving rituals to animal spirits. Their art, especially the portable pieces, remember those tiny masterpieces from Part 9, could have served as mnemonic devices for complex spiritual journeys or as personal power objects. You can almost feel the powerful presence of this figure, their hands perhaps stained with ochre, their eyes holding the wisdom of countless spiritual journeys, weaving together the practicalities of survival with the profound mysteries of the cosmos, a true leader of both body and soul. From the living figures of the shamans, your gaze now turns to the solemn finality of life's conclusion. You are now examining burial practices and grave goods. From the Magdalenian period, observing the evidence for how these sophisticated people treated their dead and the types of objects they chose to accompany them into the afterlife. This wasn't a simple disposal. It was a deeply meaningful act, reflecting their beliefs about death transition and the continued existence of the individual in another realm. Imagine preparing a loved one for a long journey, carefully packing their most cherished possessions. Magdalenian burials often show a clear pattern of intentionality and care. Bodies were frequently placed in specific positions, sometimes flexed or adorned, and often covered with red ochre. Remember that symbolic pigment from earlier. The presence of grave goods ranging from tools and ornaments to rare shells and animal parts strongly suggests a belief in an afterlife or a need to provision the deceased for their journey. These weren't random items. They were carefully selected objects imbued with personal or ritualistic significance. It's like their version of a going-away party, but with much more dirt and significantly less cake. One legitimate historical event that provides striking evidence is the discovery of the Red Lady of El Miran cave in Spain, a Magdalenian woman whose skeleton was covered in red ochre, accompanied by a rich array of grave goods, including carved bone fragments and marine shells. Her burial, dating to around 19,000 years ago, illustrates the considerable effort and ritual investment made in honoring the deceased. Historians still debate whether the quantity and type of grave goods reflect the social status of the individual in life, or if they were primarily offerings to spirits or provisions for the afterlife, irrespective of earthly rank. Perhaps it was a bit of both, a combination of showing respect and practical preparation. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine if a Magdalenian family, after painstakingly preparing a burial, realized they forgot to include the deceased's favorite lucky pebble. Oh no, Grog won't be able to find his way to the land of eternal reindeer without his lucky pebble. It certainly adds a touch of relatable human error to these ancient sacred acts. The meticulousness of Magdalenian burials highlights their complex spiritual cosmology and their profound respect for the dead. It suggests a belief that the individual, or at least their essence, continued to exist beyond physical death, necessitating careful preparation for this transition. The grave goods act as tangible links between the living and the dead, ensuring the well-being of the departed and maintaining a connection with the ancestors, who could perhaps still offer guidance or protection. You can almost feel the hushed reverence, the quiet grief mingled with the deep-seated hope that accompanied these final rites, a timeless expression of humanity, grappling with the great mystery of life and death. Having witnessed the solemn ceremonies surrounding death, your attention now shifts to the very essence of Magdalenian thought. You are now confirming the evidence of symbolic thought, recognizing the strong and pervasive presence of complex symbolic reasoning and abstract thinking in Magdalenian culture. This wasn't just about practical survival. It was about creating meaning, expressing complex ideas, and building a shared understanding of a world teeming with both tangible and invisible forces. Imagine trying to explain abstract concepts like justice or love to someone who only thinks literally. The Magdalenians were clearly past that stage, creating a rich tapestry of meaning. The sheer volume and sophistication of Magdalenian art, both parietal, cave, and portable, remember all those carved bones and figurines from parts 8, 9, and 11, are perhaps the most compelling evidence. Animals depicted with unnatural features like the sorcerer from our previous narrative, or animals with multiple heads, abstract signs, those mysterious dots and lines from part 12, and scenes that combine disparate elements, all point to a mind capable of thinking beyond the immediate and concrete. This isn't just a realistic drawing of a bison, it's a bison that means something more, something symbolic. It's like their version of modern art, but with much better execution. One legitimate historical event that beautifully illustrates this symbolic capacity is the discovery of the bird-headed man scene in the shaft of Lascaux Cave. This unique and deeply enigmatic depiction, combining a bird-headed human figure, a wounded bison, and a spear thrower. Remember those from part 6 is widely interpreted as a narrative scene, possibly a shamanic vision or a myth. Its complexity defies a purely literal reading, forcing us to acknowledge a sophisticated symbolic framework. Historians still debate the specific narrative or symbolic meaning of this particular scene, with theories ranging from a shamanic trance to a hunting accident, or even a depiction of a specific astronomical event. Maybe it was just a really bad day for that guy. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine if their version of writing was engraving a cryptic sequence of dots and lines on a bone. You'd probably need a shaman translator to figure out what your shopping list meant. Three dots, a zigzag, and a circle. Does that mean three mammoths, a river crossing, and a full moon ritual? Or just get milk, bread, and eggs? It makes you appreciate the clarity of our alphabetic systems, even if we still manage to misspell things. The presence of complex symbolic thought implies a cognitive ability for planning abstract communication, and perhaps even belief in non-material concepts like spirits or an afterlife. It's the very foundation of culture, allowing for the transmission of knowledge, the formation of shared values, and the negotiation of meaning within a community. You can almost feel the quiet hum of minds grappling with profound questions, imbuing their world with layers of significance, transforming mere survival into a rich, meaningful existence. This was the birth of truly human thought, echoing through time. From the abstract realms of symbolic thought, your attention shifts to the very practical application of their artistic endeavors. You are now considering how art, as information sharing, might have functioned in Magdalenian society, speculating how their cave paintings and portable engravings served as a sophisticated means of transmitting crucial information, such as prime hunting grounds, migration routes, or perhaps even cautionary tales. This wasn't just about beauty, it was about survival communication and the collective sharing of vital knowledge in a world without written language. Imagine an ancient Google Maps, but hand-drawn on a cave wall with ochre. In a nomadic or semi-nomadic hunter-gatherer society, information about the environment, animal behavior, and safe passages was paramount. While oral traditions were undoubtedly the primary means of transmission, visual aids could have played a powerful supplementary role. A detailed depiction of a specific animal's seasonal markings, a particular landscape feature, or even a successful hunting strategy could have conveyed complex data in an easily recognizable and memorable format. It's like an ancient infographic conveying a lot of data at a glance, much more engaging than a spreadsheet. One legitimate historical event that provides indirect support for this idea is the remarkable anatomical accuracy and dynamic portrayal of animals in Magdalenian cave art, often showing specific species with precise details of their fur, antlers, or even wounds. This level of observational detail goes beyond mere aesthetics and suggests an intent to record and convey knowledge. For instance, the detailed depiction of a wounded bison, like in Lascaux, might not just be a narrative, but also a teaching tool about where to aim for a vital kill. Historians still debate whether these artistic depictions were conscious maps or instruction manuals, or if their informational value was secondary to their spiritual or ritualistic function. Perhaps it was a bonus feature of the art. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine a Magdalenian scout returning from a long journey, and instead of describing the terrain, he just draws a quick sketch on a piece of bone. See, this zigzag means a treacherous river, and these dots are where the good berries are. It would certainly make communication much more efficient, assuming everyone knew the code. And if you lost your bone map, you were probably in a lot of trouble. The visual language of Magdalenian art then could have served as a powerful mnemonic device, aiding in the memory and transmission of complex ecological and survival information. It allowed for the preservation of knowledge across generations, fostering the collective intelligence of the group. Whether used during storytelling around the fire or as landmarks within sacred caves, these artistic messages represent a sophisticated form of nonverbal communication, vital for their success in a challenging world. You can almost feel the weight of shared knowledge encoded in vibrant strokes and etched lines, ensuring the survival and prosperity of their lineage. From the utilitarian aspects of information sharing through art, your attention now shifts to enigmatic objects that bridge the gap between tool and symbol. You are now investigating ritual objects and their use, specifically focusing on artifacts like bâtons de commandement, also known as perforated batons, and their proposed ritual, social, or perhaps even practical functions within Magdalenian society. These aren't just pretty sticks. They are objects steeped in mystery, hinting at complex social structures and ceremonial practices. Imagine holding an object that looks like a spear thrower, but has no practical hook, its purpose shrouded in ancient enigma. Bâtons de commandement are typically made from reindeer antler, characterized by one or more perforations holes at one end, often elaborately engraved with animal figures or abstract patterns. Their precise function has been one of the most enduring archaeological puzzles. Theories range from shaft straighteners for spears or arrows, to tent pegs to spear thrower components to calendar devices, to symbols of authority or ritual implements held by shamans or leaders. The very debate surrounding them highlights their ambiguous nature. It's like a prehistoric "what is it" game show. Only the stakes are understanding ancient human behavior. One legitimate historical event that contributes to this mystery is the discovery of numerous such perforated batons across Magdalenian sites, often found in contexts that suggest intentional deposition or association with other significant artifacts. The consistency of their form and decoration, despite variations, indicates they were a recognized and important type of object. Historians still debate whether the holes were for practical purposes, like straightening shafts by leverage, or purely symbolic, representing passage or connection. Perhaps they were simply status symbols, a kind of ancient bling that also had a secret practical use. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine if bâtons de commandement were actually ancient knitting needles and the Magdalenians were secretly knitting giant mammoth wool sweaters. It would certainly explain the holes, but no, probably not. Still, it's fun to consider the more outlandish theories that arise when archaeologists grapple with genuinely puzzling artifacts. Surely, Grog, this intricate engraving isn't just for knitting. Right. Regardless of their precise practical use, the elaborate decoration and careful craftsmanship of bâtons de commandement strongly suggest a symbolic or ritualistic importance. They could have been markers of leadership used in ceremonies to solidify social bonds, or held by shamans as conduits for spiritual power. They represent a tangible link to the social and ritual lives of Magdalenian people, embodying complex meanings that transcend simple utility. You can almost feel the smooth, cool antler, the weight of its unspoken purpose in your hand, a silent witness to ancient rituals and hierarchical structures now lost to time. From the enigmatic bâton de commandement, your mind once again turns to the power of organized sound. You are now exploring your music and sound's persistence, recognizing the continued importance of musical instruments like flutes. Remember those bone flutes from part 14 of the previous narrative and how they echoed in the darkness in Magdalenian rituals and daily life. The Magdalenians didn't just survive, they created, celebrated, and communed through the universal language of melody and rhythm, a profound testament to their rich inner lives. Imagine the haunting beauty of a flute playing under a starry Ice Age sky, the sound carrying across the vast silent plains. The presence of finely crafted bone flutes and whistles in Magdalenian sites, some even more complex than earlier examples, indicates a sustained and perhaps enhanced appreciation for music. These instruments, made from bird bones, often swan or vulture, or even reindeer phalanges, are meticulously perforated to produce clear, resonant tones. Their ubiquity in certain Magdalenian contexts suggests they were not isolated curiosities but integral components of their cultural and spiritual practices. It's like their version of a communal jam session, but with higher stakes, perhaps summoning spirits or preparing for a hunt. One legitimate historical event that highlights this continuity and refinement is the once discovery of flutes from sites like Istoritz in the French Pyrenees, which showcase incredible precision in their drilling and a broader range of potential notes than earlier Paleolithic examples. This suggests a continued evolution in musical craftsmanship and perhaps even more complex musical compositions. Historians still debate whether specific melodies were associated with particular rituals or animal spirits, or if different instruments were used for different ceremonial purposes. Perhaps some flutes were just for dancing, and others for deep spiritual journeys. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine trying to teach a Neanderthal how to play a new tune on a Magdalenian flute. They'd probably be pretty frustrated with your lack of patience. No, Grog, it's not just blowing. You have to feel the spirit of the reindeer in your fingers. It certainly puts our own musical learning struggles into perspective, doesn't it? And all without YouTube tutorials. The continued use of musical instruments underscores the importance of sound in Magdalenian ritual. Music could have served to induce or deepen trance states for shamans, to unify groups during communal ceremonies, or to create a connection with the spirit world. The very act of crafting these instruments demanding precision and skill, remember the specialized artisans from Part 15, speaks to the value placed on sound and its role in their cosmology. You can almost feel the vibrations of the ancient notes resonating within your very bones, a timeless echo of human creativity and spiritual expression, connecting us to the ancient rhythms that shaped their lives and their perceptions of the universe. From the abstract beauty of music, your attention now turns to the rarest yet most poignant depictions in Magdalenian art, the human form. You are now acknowledging the human figure in art, rare but present, examining the scarce but significant representations of humans in Magdalenian cave paintings and portable art, and the diverse interpretations surrounding them. Unlike the teeming animal herds, humans appear infrequently, often stylized, fragmented, or in composite forms, which makes their presence all the more intriguing and meaningful. Imagine a grand gallery filled with animal masterpieces and then almost hidden a single enigmatic self-portrait. When humans do appear in Magdalenian art, they are rarely depicted with the same naturalistic detail as the animals. They might be stick figures, highly stylized, or show only parts of the body. Sometimes they are anthropomorphic, combining human and animal features, like the shamans we discussed in Part 19. This contrasts sharply with later periods of art where humans become central. This raises fascinating questions about Magdalenian self-perception, their relationship to the animal world, and the spiritual context in which humans were deemed worthy of artistic representation. Historians still debate whether this rarity means humans were less important symbolically than animals, or if depicting humans was simply more taboo or complex. Perhaps they just found drawing mammoths more fun? One legitimate historical event that is a key example of the human figure is the engraved human figure from La Marche Cave in France, which, while controversial and debated, suggests deliberate depictions of specific human individuals or types. Similarly, the dancing sorcerer from Trois Frères Cave, though from an earlier period its concept is still relevant to Magdalenian ideas of composite beings, stands as a powerful, if ambiguous, human-animal hybrid, possibly representing a shaman. The existence of even these rare human forms forces us to consider their complex self-awareness and spiritual roles. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine if the reason humans were rarely depicted so realistically was because they thought it might trap their spirit in the image. So they just drew stick figures to be safe. I'll just draw a squiggle grog, don't want to accidentally get my soul stuck in this cave wall. It's a whimsical thought, but not entirely out of line with animistic beliefs about representation. The specific contexts in which human figures appear often suggest a ritualistic or shamanic purpose. They are sometimes found in deep, secluded parts of caves or seem to be interacting with animals in a transformative way. These depictions offer precious glimpses into Magdalenian ideas about personhood, spiritual journeys, and the intricate relationship between humanity and the powerful forces of their natural and supernatural worlds. You can almost feel the weight of their unspoken meanings, the quiet narratives behind these stylized forms, a testament to the complex self-perception of our ancient ancestors who, in their art, chose to tell stories not just about the world around them, but about their place within its sacred tapestry. Shifting your gaze from the rare human forms, you now expand your perspective to the environment that surrounded Magdalenian life. You are looking for a depiction of landscape and environment within Magdalenian artistic conventions, searching for subtle hints of the vast changing world beyond the animals and abstract signs. While Magdalenian art is overwhelmingly dominated by animal figures and often lacks explicit backgrounds, careful observation can reveal fascinating clues about their perception and representation of their physical world. Imagine a modern landscape painting that subtly integrates scientific data about climate change. That's the kind of nuanced observation you're seeking. Unlike later art forms that frequently place figures within detailed landscapes, Magdalenian art typically focuses on the isolated animal form, often seemingly floating on the cave wall. However, certain elements occasionally appear that suggest environmental features, lines that could denote ground levels, changes in rock color or texture incorporated into the art, or subtle indications of vegetation or water. These aren't grand panoramas, but rather selective intentional inclusions that highlight specific aspects of their experienced environment. It's like their version of a minimalist painting, where every line carries immense meaning. One legitimate historical event that offers intriguing possibilities is the mass incorporation of natural rock features into animal forms in many cave paintings. For example, a bulge in the rock might become the shoulder of a bison, or a crack might form the leg of a horse. This integration suggests a deep connection to the cave as a living entity, but also hints at the artist's awareness of form and how it relates to their surroundings. Historians still debate whether these subtle landscape elements were purely aesthetic choices, mnemonic devices for actual topographical features, or symbolic representations of spiritual landscapes encountered in trance. Perhaps they just thought, hey, that rock looks like a bison butt, I'll just finish the rest. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine a Magdalenian artist trying to explain perspective to a modern art critic who's used to highly realistic landscapes. They'd probably just point to a natural contour in the rock and say, see, the earth is the landscape. It's very immersive. It certainly makes you appreciate the different ways cultures interpret and represent their world, especially when you're limited to ochre in a rough cave wall. While not explicit, the subtle inclusion of environmental cues in Magdalenian art reflects their profound connection to the land and their nuanced observation of its features. These elements, however understated, would have served to contextualize the animals within their natural habitats, reinforcing the cyclical nature of life, death, and abundance. You can almost feel the cold rock against your hand, the damp air of the cave as you seek out these hidden environmental whispers, a testament to an art form that, while focused on the living, was deeply rooted in the enduring power of the land itself. From the subtle artistic depictions of their environment, your gaze now sharpens to the very tangible ways Magdalenian people interacted with and adapted to their world. You are now examining technological adaptations to environment, focusing on how specific tool advancements were directly influenced by the changing post-glacial environment. As the vast ice sheets retreated and new landscapes emerged, the Magdalenians didn't just passively observe. They innovated, creating specialized tools to exploit new resources and thrive in evolving ecosystems. Imagine a world where your very survival depended on inventing the perfect gadget for a brand new challenge. It's like their version of Silicon Valley, but with more flint and significantly less venture capital. As the climate warmed, the open steppe tundra that favored mammoths slowly gave way to expanding forests and more wetlands. This meant a decline in some megafauna and an increase in animals like deer, elk, and fish. The Magdalenians responded with remarkable ingenuity, developing a more diverse and specialized toolkit to exploit these new opportunities. This wasn't just about making better versions of old tools. It was about designing entirely new implements for entirely new tasks. Remember those harpoons from Part 5 perfect for fishing in the newly abundant rivers and lakes? One legitimate historical event that powerfully illustrates these adaptations is the development and widespread use of antler sage spear points with complex barbs and grooves, specifically designed to fragment upon impact or to cause greater bleeding, particularly effective against agile forest-dwelling prey. This contrasts with earlier, simpler stone points. Historians still debate whether these specific adaptations were a gradual evolution or a rapid series of innovations driven by immediate environmental pressures. Perhaps it was a frantic, "Oh no, where did all the mammoths go?" moment that sparked a flurry of invention. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine a Magdalenian toolmaker faced with a particularly stubborn piece of antler, lamenting, "If only I had a power drill." The sheer amount of manual labor, precision, and trial and error involved in crafting these specialized organic tools is mind-boggling. It certainly makes you appreciate the ease with which we can acquire specialized tools today. They probably had a secret handshake for master antler carvers. The technological adaptations of the Magdalenian period showcase a highly intelligent and flexible culture capable of responding dynamically to environmental change. Their toolkit became incredibly varied, a testament to their deep understanding of different materials and their specific applications. This adaptability was key to their success and their ability to flourish even as their world continued its slow, inexorable transformation. You can almost feel the satisfying thunk as a newly adapted tool finds its perfect use, a silent testament to human ingenuity against the backdrop of a slowly yet powerfully changing planet. From the ingenuity of adapting tools to new environments, your focus shifts to the subtle discernment that underpinned all Magdalenian craftsmanship. You are now exploring material selection sophistication, recognizing their discerning choice of raw materials for both tools and art, highlighting their profound understanding of material properties. This wasn't just about using whatever rock was handy, it was about understanding the nuanced differences between types of flint, the strengths of various bones and antlers, and the qualities of different pigments, selecting each for its optimal purpose. Imagine a chef meticulously choosing specific ingredients, knowing exactly how each will contribute to the final dish. That's the level of expertise we're talking about. For tool production, Magdalenian knappers sought out the highest quality, flint, often traveling long distances or engaging in extensive trade networks. Remember those from Part 16 to acquire superior nodules. They understood that fine-grained homogeneous stone allowed for more predictable fractures, leading to longer, sharper blades and more precise tools. Remember those revolutionary blades from Part 3. Similarly, for bone and antler tools, they chose specific bones for their density and workability, and antlers at the right stage of growth for optimal strength and carving potential. One legitimate historical event that provides compelling evidence is the archaeological sourcing of lithic materials. Stone tools to their original geological outcrops, sometimes hundreds of kilometers from the Magdalenian sites where they were found. This provenance analysis reveals consistent patterns of preference for specific, high-quality raw materials, even when inferior local alternatives were available. Historians still debate whether this sophisticated material selection was driven purely by practical efficiency or if certain materials also held symbolic or ritualistic significance. Perhaps a specific type of flint was considered lucky for hunting or sacred for carving. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine a Magdalenian artisan explaining their material philosophy. You see, grog, this flint from the northern quarry just feels better. It has a certain je ne sais quoi when you nap it. Plus, it sparkles in the firelight. It makes you wonder about the subtle aesthetic and tactile preferences that might have influenced their choices beyond pure utility. They weren't just practical, they were connoisseurs. This sophisticated material selection underscores their deep intuitive knowledge of their environment and its resources. It was a skill passed down through generations, honed by observation and experience. It allowed them to create tools that were not just functional, but often beautiful in their efficiency and form and art that would endure for millennia. You can almost feel the smooth, cool weight of a perfectly selected piece of flint in your hand, its latent sharpness waiting to be unleashed, a testament to their profound connection to the earth and their mastery over its raw bounty. As you survey the full scope of Magdalenian achievements, a fascinating tension becomes apparent. You are now reflecting on cultural continuity and innovation, observing the delicate balance they struck between maintaining traditional forms and embracing bold new technological and artistic innovations. This wasn't a static culture, nor was it a complete break from the past. It was a dynamic process of evolution where established ways blended with groundbreaking ideas to create a uniquely adaptable and flourishing society. Imagine a modern culture that simultaneously values ancient crafts and cutting-edge technology. That's the Magdalenian sweet spot. On one hand, you see clear continuity with earlier Paleolithic traditions. The continued focus on megafauna in cave art, remember those vibrant bison and mammoths from Part 8, the symbolic use of ochre, and the reliance on core and flake stone tool technologies all show a deep respect for ancestral ways. They weren't throwing out the old playbook entirely, but on the other hand, their innovations were truly revolutionary, the precision of blade technology. Part 3, the effectiveness of the spear thrower. Part 6, the utility of the bone needle. Part 7, and the explosion of diverse portable art. Part 9. It's like they kept the old family recipes but invented a whole new set of kitchen gadgets to make them even better. One legitimate historical event that exemplifies this balance is the evolution of projectile point technology during the Magdalenian period. While earlier cultures used simpler points, the Magdalenians developed incredibly diverse and refined forms, from leaf-shaped solitrine points from the preceding culture, which influenced Magdalenian innovations, to specialized barb points made of antler. Part 27. This shows a clear lineage of innovation where existing ideas were taken and pushed to new levels of efficiency and complexity. Historians still debate whether this rapid innovation was driven primarily by necessity, e.g. changing prey animals, or by a cultural predisposition towards experimentation and refinement. Perhaps they simply enjoyed the intellectual challenge of making something better. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine a Magdalenian elder looking at a newly invented barbed harpoon. Remember those from part 5 shaking their head and grumbling, "Back in my day, we just wrestled the fish." This newfangled gadget is too complicated. It makes you wonder about the generational divides and debates over progress even in ancient times. Some things never change, do they? The ability of the Magdalenian culture to seamlessly integrate tradition with innovation was a key factor in their success. It allowed them to adapt effectively to a changing environment while maintaining the cultural cohesion and shared knowledge that had sustained their ancestors. This dynamic interplay fostered a vibrant intellectual and artistic environment, pushing the boundaries of what was possible with the materials and knowledge at hand. You can almost feel the pulse of a society that was both deeply rooted in its past and boldly reaching towards its future, a testament to the enduring human capacity for both wisdom and ingenuity. As you reflect on the remarkable achievements of the Magdalenian, a sense of caution creeps in. You are now grappling with archaeological interpretation challenges, acknowledging the inherent difficulties and ongoing debates in truly understanding Magdalenian cultural practices. Despite the wealth of artifacts and art, we are still detectives piecing together a puzzle with many missing pieces, often relying on inferences, analogies with modern cultures, and educated guesses. Imagine trying to understand a complex civilization from only its trash heaps and a few half-finished sculptures. It's tough, isn't it? The core challenge lies in the absence of written records. We can analyze tools, map settlements, and admire art, but we cannot directly access their thoughts, their languages, their specific beliefs, or the intricate narratives that animated their lives. Every interpretation of a shaman, remember those from part 19, or a ritual object, like the bâton de commandement from part 23, is a reconstruction, a plausible narrative built from tangible evidence, but ultimately an inference. This means there's always room for new theories, new discoveries to overturn old ideas. It's like trying to understand a highly complex play from just the stage props and a few lines of dialogue. One legitimate historical event that perfectly illustrates these challenges is the ongoing debate surrounding the precise meaning and function of almost every major piece of Magdalenian art or enigmatic artifact. For example, while many scholars agree that cave art held deep significance, the specific theories about what that significance was, hunting magic, shamanic visions, initiation rituals, information sharing, remember that from part 22, or purely aesthetic expression, continue to be hotly debated. Historians still debate whether the interpretations of Paleolithic art tell us more about the ancient artists or more about the modern scholars doing the interpreting. Perhaps it's a bit of both, a dialogue across time. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine if, in 20,000 years, archaeologists trying to understand our culture found a broken smartphone and concluded it was a ritual object for communicating with tiny glowing spirits. They'd be both right and hilariously wrong. It certainly puts our confidence in interpreting ancient cultures into perspective, doesn't it? Clearly, these selfie sticks were used in a ritual to magically extend the human arm. The inherent ambiguities in archaeological evidence remind us of the immense intellectual effort required to reconstruct the past and the humility needed to acknowledge the limits of our knowledge. Each new discovery refines our understanding, but the full living tapestry of Magdalenian life will likely remain partially veiled by the mists of time. This ongoing scholarly debate is not a weakness, but a strength, a testament to the dynamic and evolving nature of our quest to understand our earliest ancestors. You can almost feel the weight of these unanswered questions, the tantalizing mystery that continues to beckon us deeper into the silent halls of prehistory. Despite the formidable challenges of interpretation, as you reflect on the totality of Magdalenian culture, you sense a powerful resonance that bridges millennia. You are now considering the Magdalenian legacy's modern echoes, how elements of their ingenuity, artistry, and way of life continue to resonate in later human cultures, and even subtly influence aspects of our modern world. This isn't just an ancient historical period. It's a foundational chapter in the human story, its innovations and expressions laying groundwork that still subtly shapes our present. Imagine an ancient stream, its waters flowing underground, for millennia suddenly bubbling up to the surface in unexpected places today. Think about the sheer human capacity for innovation under pressure. The Magdalenians developed tools that were incredibly specialized and efficient. Remember those harpoon spear throwers and needles from parts 5, 6, and 7? This drive to constantly improve and adapt to master materials and leverage physics is a direct inheritance that fuels our own technological progress. We are in a sense still standing on the shoulders of those ancient innovators, even if our flint is now silicon and our atlatl is a rocket engine. One legitimate historical event that beautifully illustrates this enduring influence is the continuing artistic impulse that seems to be hardwired into human cognition from the Magdalenian cave paintings, Part 8 to modern art. The desire to represent, to symbolize, to create beauty and to imbue objects with meaning is a timeless human trait. Whether it's the naturalism of a Magdalenian bison or a contemporary abstract sculpture, the underlying creative drive remains. Historians still debate whether human creativity is an endless wellspring or if it draws from a limited set of fundamental archetypes that were established in these ancient periods. Perhaps we're just remixing very, very old songs. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine if our modern obsession with crafting and DIY projects was actually a deep, subconscious echo of our Magdalenian ancestors who had to craft everything they owned from scratch. You'd be less likely to say, "I made this cute little macrame plant hanger," and more likely to say, "I painstakingly chipped this perfect blade from raw flint, and it only took me 3 days and 5 broken thumbs." It certainly makes our hobbies seem a lot less life or death, doesn't it? The Magdalenian legacy is also evident in the enduring power of visual storytelling and symbolic communication. Their abstract signs, Part 12, and narrative engravings, Part 10, hint at a fundamental human need to externalize thoughts and share complex information beyond spoken words, a precursor to all forms of writing and visual media. You can almost feel the pulse of their ancient ingenuity, a steady beat that echoes through the annals of human endeavor, reminding us that the seeds of our most complex achievements were sown by hands that worked stone and bone in the fading light of the Ice Age. Their lives, though distant, are woven into the very fabric of who we are. As the warmth of the sun finally asserts its dominance, and the last lingering ice patches recede into memory, you witness the definitive moment. You are now contemplating the final thaw end of an era. The conclusion of the Magdalenian period as the Ice Age truly receded and new environmental and cultural challenges emerged for humanity. This wasn't a sudden cataclysm, but a slow, profound transformation, a closing chapter on an incredible epic of human adaptation and artistic flourishing. Imagine a long, cold winter finally giving way to an undeniable, vibrant spring, forever altering the landscape. Around 12,000 to 11,500 years ago, a significant and relatively rapid global warming trend marked the end of the Pleistocene epoch and the beginning of the Holocene, our current geological age. The vast tundra steppes home to the megafauna that had sustained the Magdalenians. Remember their reliance on reindeer? Part 2 transformed into dense forests. Many of the large herbivores either went extinct, like the woolly mammoth, or migrated far north, fundamentally changing hunting strategies and subsistence patterns. New environments demanded new ways of life. One legitimate historical event that powerfully signals this transition is the disappearance of classic Magdalenian artistic and technological forms, replaced by new cultural complexes like the Azilian, characterized by different tool types, e.g. microliths, and a shift in artistic expression, often less figurative, more abstract. This change isn't necessarily a decline, but rather an adaptation to a world without megafauna and vast open spaces. Historians still debate whether the end of the Magdalenian was primarily driven by environmental change, internal social dynamics, or perhaps even the emergence of new human cognitive or social structures. Maybe they just decided to try something completely different. A quirky or off-color fact: imagine the last Magdalenian artist looking at a dwindling herd of reindeer and a rapidly expanding forest thinking, "Well, guess I'll have to find some new inspiration." Maybe drawing trees, ugh, so much less exciting than a charging bison. It must have been a bittersweet time holding on to ancient traditions while facing an undeniable transforming future. The end of the Ice Age meant the end of a way of life that had defined humanity for tens of thousands of years. The Magdalenians, masters of the cold world, adapted and eventually gave way to successor cultures in the new warmer Holocene. Yet their legacy of technological brilliance, artistic genius, and profound spiritual engagement laid the essential foundations for everything that came after. They didn't just survive the Ice Age, they thrived in it, leaving behind a testament to human resilience and creativity. You can almost feel the sun's warmth on your face, the scent of new growth on the air as the final curtain falls on a remarkable era, reminding us that even endings are always in their own way new beginnings. The light begins to dim around the edges, colors softening, lines blurring into a gentle wash. The whispers of ancient hunters, the quiet tap-tap of flint on stone, the ethereal melodies of bone flutes all drift on a silent, unseen breeze carried into the vast quietude. You are left with a profound sense of connection, a silent understanding of humanity's long, slow journey through time, a journey shaped by ice and ingenuity by spirit and stone. The echoes of their lives, their art, their beliefs are not gone. They simply exist now in the deep, quiet chambers of your own imagination, waiting to be rediscovered with each thoughtful breath. Good night.